All right, getting things set up here. Just wanted to say what's up to everybody. The music is flowing good. It's gonna help the art go as well. Feel free to share. If anybody's interested in seeing it. So anyway, just to start off, let's get my tools of the trade. I'm breaking out some of my. These are my Triplus fine liners from Staedtlar. Because I'm going to be using those. And I got my Microns. I got the 003. And then I actually broke open a new one, and then 001 Micron. And then we'll see if I might have to break out the Pentel as well. So I got a bunch of other tools and things lying over here. Let's see, got my trusty gel pen, which actually I got to replace this one soon too. So, all right, well, again, I like to just say, hey, what's up? Good morning. It's a kind of foggy morning up here, man, on the Ocean State. Let's see. Well, what I'm going to be doing today is a sketch card puzzle commission that just popped into my lap. And what I'm going to do is just to give you guys a showing of what that means, I'm going to break out some old examples. Now, these right here, and I'll show it again at the end. This is a sketch card. This is hand drawn by me. This was a photo. It was actually a cover. What is it? Cover recreation. Jeez, I don't know what my brain, man. I need coffee. So it's a cover recreation. Do you buy these pens from Amazon or art stores? Amazon will do good. You can just look on Kevin. Just look on Amazon, and they'll take care of you. This was my old stock, card stock that I have. I still have hanging around. So I tend to use that if people want to commission me to do stuff. But I'm not doing a lot of cover recreations these days. This was a complete nightmare. When I did this, I think the date's like 2013. And, I got the itch and I thought I would try it out. And I'm glad I did it, but not something I'll be jumping through the hoop to want to do again. All right. So then this again is another sketch card. And again, same thing on my own card stock. So you got that. And then now what I'm going to be doing today is I'm actually going to be doing the sketch card puzzle on official card stock. Now, I want people to understand that official card stock means that, yes, the price gets bumped up because these are very rare card stock that you just don't get. That usually artists who have worked on a set end up getting, and they're rare just because, again, they're official. And in the collector's market, they can go for some nice cheddar. So anyway, this one was for BotCon that I did 2011 RC, and again it has the BotCon Transformers, logo back there, transformersclub.com. So I did that years ago, and then here I think you guys might appreciate this one. This was a puzzle card, and this is technically what I'm doing today is the puzzle card. I'm not going to be doing the colors. I'm actually going to be doing inking and stuff. But anyway, just to give you an idea. So these are 2011. Was that 11? So these babies are 9 years old. But there you go. This was a fun one right here. This was Soundwave, and then showing Ravage sort of coming out of his chest or going into his chest. Either way, whatever puts your fancy. But also, hopefully you can see, I used a lot of gel pen stuff in there too. So it's called like almost a fluorescent kind of effect in there when I did it. But yeah, this was fun. Again, BotCon. And then this was pretty much the most recent one that I did. I actually did this year. This was puzzle. I was just curious about the idea, what would happen if Mecha Godzilla popped up into the Robotech universe, and he's like, what kind of Zentradi is this? And and it's done on some old card stock from Robot God Akamatsu days, so I still have a few of those lying around as well. But yeah, there you go. So that, and then just as an extra treat for you guys, I wanted to show you some actual trading cards that I did for BotCon. This is a BotCon art that I did. This is the card right here, but then they also did the knockout colors. All you see is their eyes, their visors. So get that and that. Oh, wait a sec. Oh, let me take it out of the card stuff. And that was for BotCon 2015. So if you have any of these, and yeah, more power to you, man. These were really fun to do. Had a great time doing them. And then let's see what else we got here. This was another one I did, the BotCon 20th anniversary card that I did. And that was 2014. All right. And then finally, this was the BotCon 20th anniversary that I did. That was 2014. And I actually did do another one too, that it had a hot rod in it, and I don't have that card. It's in my portfolio and stuff, and I don't feel like grabbing it, but you know, once it's all over, maybe I'll post it and stuff. But yeah, so that was technically the last one that I did for the BotCon trading card sets. All right, so anyway, enough of this jabbing. Let me get to work. So this is a commission that just came in, and the client wanted Sentinel, Maximus, and Cryotek. And I'll admit, man, because I've just been so busy with other things and stuff, a lot of these characters are kind of very new to me. I didn't even know these characters really existed, because this guy right here, Cryotek, as I'm getting like reference and stuff, I'm like, yeah, you know, he looks like Megatron, the dragon. Like I have the Megatron Beast Wars dragon, but this guy right here is, you know, he looks just like him and he's blue. So I was like, whoa, okay. And then this guy right here, Sentinel, Maximus, is just insanity. He's just massive, massive big. So anyway, I showed the rough sketch to the client. The client was very happy, and so now I'm here in front of you guys, and I'm gonna get ready to start drawing. So anyway, just feel free to share this, and just watch. You know, I'll yap a little bit, but let me focus in my mental energies on just making sure the art comes out really good. So anyway, let's get this party going. Right on, right on. And I do appreciate the fact you came by and wanted to hang with me. Good morning, good morning. Much love. Listen to the jams and let's see some art. All right. Okay, I'm gonna break out my 003, really nice and small, and just start in here. Now I got the reference of the characters right here on the side, so I can make sure I'm keeping everything pretty tight. So we'll just see. All right, here we go. Now the funny thing about sketch cards is that sketch cards are a commitment. You know, you can't really make too many mistakes on them. You know, and I guess I kind of like that kind of feeling of like, you know, what you lay down is pretty much what the person gets. You know, you could use a little bit of whiteout, but you don't want to use too much because then it just looks weird and messy. So technically it's just you and you're just laying out the art the way it is, and hopefully it comes out close to what you're looking for, and really close to, you know, pretty much what the client is looking for. Yeah, what an interesting character this guy is. And I'll have to admit, man, even like reference, one of the things that just drives me nuts is that you never really see, when you look for reference, you never see like just line art reference, you know what I mean? No color, folks, no shadows or any of that stuff, just straight out line art, so somebody can actually see how the pieces of this character is, man. It drives me nuts. Because I hate guessing, you know, I hate trying to guess how a character is and stuff. I go, that piece looks good, and then you see the actual piece and you go, oh man, what did I do? All right, here we go. You gotta have your gems while you do your art, man. I'm listening to a bunch of royalty-free music that I snagged from YouTube and stuff. A bunch of just different jams. I like it because it's just straight out music. No, no lyrics or anything, because that stuff will get you tagged. I've gone down that path already. So the good thing was that what was it? YouTube has some royalty-free stuff. So I was like, okay, I'll snatch it. And it was good music. It's pretty good. Yeah, this character has a lot of dark in him, man, in his helmet. Yeah, I've seen some of Alex's stuff too. Alex is really good. But again, it's like it's so, it's really tough because when you're on a gig, man, it's like, you want to kind of have this stuff available. And then even still, you know, when I look at simple line art, it's like I just want basic line art. And when other artists kind of put their own twist on it and stuff like that, even I do the same thing. Sometimes it may not be as correct to what the actual figure may be, just because that artist might have had to tweak certain things up too. So ideally, I would love to be able to get the product art, like how the actual product, the character looked as a product, or even better, like, because I've done some work in animation. I tend to like how old school animators, when they did the 2D stuff, and they would just try to get the basics of what the figure looks like. No, much love for Alex though. Come on, Eric, what's happening, man? I'm like looking up from my phone and stuff a little bit. You guys can understand that I won't be able to respond too much because I got a gig. This is work right here, man. I didn't get to be at this place without respecting the fact that you got a job to do, man. I feel like I'm a mechanic right now. When you go take your car to a mechanic and you want that mechanic, he's all good and dandy, but you want him to get the work done. Like, get that work done, man. Crack that whip. All right. But, he got much love for you. All right. Man. This is when I show stuff like this is my love for John Byrne. John Byrne's insane amount of like debris when he would just show characters punching something and it just shreds it. Love it. This is a great this Micron, the 003 is a great pen for, especially for sketch cards. You want to get in detail and stuff. Hey Eric, did I say hello to you, brother? I just looked up and saw that you said you got home. Working hard, man, making that cheddar. I just want to say also to all those people that were giving me the much love for that piece that I worked on back in 2010. I truly, really, honestly, I usually don't revisit my artwork. I kind of just, I do it, I bless it, and it's done, and then I move on to the next thing. But I genuinely wanted to get a consensus of what people might have thought, just to see if it would get the old fires, the creative fires, blazing again, and it did. People just really responded to that. And that made me really excited. I will say, I'll be straight up with you. I don't know what I was thinking of when I drew that piece. I drew it on cold press Bristol, which I usually don't enjoy drawing on. And man, it's a nightmare. It's almost like this too. Like this right here has almost like a, I'm used to like I like a nice slicker. Hot press kind of Bristol, really smooth, But clearly, I drew it. So, and my thought, my theory on that is that just because I'm one of those people where I hate throwing out stuff, I'm like everything has to get used. And I think I just had a piece of 11 by 14 around for some reason, and I said I ain't tossing that out, man. And I just started drawing, and I just went with it. So now it's like, 7 years later, I'm working on it, trying to bring it back, taking it to the next level, step of the journey. And it's like, I'm getting that toothy feel. It's like aged somewhat. And it's like, oh man, this is definitely a challenge. finding them going over certain black lines and whatever. But it's cool. It's all about the journey, right? All right. Let's see. Oh, Nolan, nice. I've been checking out some of your drawings, man. You're doing good. Keep it up. That's it. You know, I always get people asking me, "Hey, what's the secret behind drawing?" The real secret, draw. That's pretty much it. Just like a writer. A writer only gets better when they write more and more, when they read more and more. Artist only gets better when you just keep drawing. You draw. And yeah, I know, you want to be able to start getting people to pay you for it and stuff like that, but I like to just keep it real, because that's how the people who schooled me when I first was getting into the game back in my 20s, back in the 90s, they were very straight up with me. I was, I'm a kid from the streets, man. And I'm used to things being kind of like, given to me, straight up. Like, I don't want somebody sugarcoating stuff. So they would be like, "Yo, man, your stuff sucks," or whatever, and you got to do this and whatever, and and you got to hustle. And I never forget, one of my mentors once told me, he said, "Yo, you like to eat?" I had that goofy look on my face, like a deer with headlights, and like, "Oh, I want to do this and blah." And he said, "Oh yeah," he said, "Yeah, you like to eat?" And I was like, "Yeah." He said, "Well, then hustle. You want to work as an artist, you got to have to hustle." And that's what I tell anybody today. You got to ask yourself, how much do you want this? And treat it seriously. Treat art seriously. The whole aspect of art. That means business-wise. Treat this. It is a profession. It's not just some hobby. That's a stickler for me, because it's like when I think about a mechanic, or no one's ever looking at a mechanic or a plumber or a carpenter and be like, "Yeah, you're just doing it just for giggles and whatever." Putting, doing this and plywood, and no one ever says that. But when it comes to art, somehow that becomes almost like this weird joke. Like it's not seen as real, and it is real. I've been doing this for going on 30 years, man. Working on various different projects and stuff, ads and stuff and things, and it's very real for me. I went into this with eyes wide open, going, I want to make something out of this. This isn't a hobby for me. So if you want to be an artist and stuff, you got to approach it from a serious standpoint, and then educate yourself. There's a lot of information now out there. There's no excuse for anyone not to be able to make it in this field. Yeah, it's always tough. I mean, again, the thing is that if you're a hobbyist, then I think that's cool. If you're just drawing just to draw to make yourself, good, I think that's great. I don't have a problem with that. Anytime I say this, when I go on my little rants here, this is for people who are genuinely wanting to get into the art industry business. If you genuinely want, again, to become a commercial illustrator or animator or comic book artist or, book illustrator or toy illustrator, or see how it goes on and on and on, game design or whatever, then you have to approach it with a very serious mindset. Yeah, but you got to think like, this is the only thing that I can do. This is what I'm good at, and then perfect it. Again, thinking in terms, a mechanic only gets better if they school themselves and they learn about things and whatever. A plumber only gets better, educating themselves, knowing things, learning things, learning how to talk to people. We'll talk to clients, customer service, all that fun stuff. It all factors in there. All right. There you go. Can you guys see that? Oh, man. It's an interesting character, huh? Sentinel Maximus. I honestly think this particular client, I think he just loves testing me to see what else, what I can't draw. Because he's always giving me stuff that definitely challenges me, which I'm grateful for. I like a nice challenge. How am I gonna, even though I've been in the game for a bit, how am I gonna get better? I'm always striving to learn a little bit here and there. or not really want to learn, but also in the fact of just to get my style, tweak it up even more, push myself. You know, I've embraced the fact that I am a traditional artist who uses some limited amounts of like Photoshop and stuff for coloring. But I'm a traditional artist. It's not a bad word. There's many of us out there. I think that there's still a love for that kind of like hand to paper art style where it's not as clean, as gritty. There's a lot of the organic, just raw emotion of the artist when they're applying it to the paper and stuff. It's like you can't. Yeah, Nolan's spitting some truth in his comments, man. People better be listening to that, man. He's spitting truth. That's the truth. You can't be a casual Joe. The only time you can be that, again, if you want to be a hobbyist and you're just doing it just for fun, then that's cool. I know a lot of people who just do it just for fun. They got other jobs and stuff like that. I'm not talking to those people. I'm talking to the people who genuinely want a career. You want a career, you want to really make it in this industry, then you got it's like your mindset. You got to prepare your mind for it. It is hard work. But everything's hard work, right? Anything that you want is going to be hard work. You know, you want to be a comic book. I always tell people, like, you know, comic books is great, but I always look at comic books as just a segment of the art industry. The art industry is a massive beast. It's a massive beast with many moving parts, and I never understood people who just walk down to one aspect of it when it's so massive. Like, you know, I tell anybody out there, if you're interested in becoming I would say commercial illustrator, what I am, a commercial illustrator, then you have to be willing to draw all kind of stuff, and stuff even that you may not even want to draw. I can tell you the stories about how I had to end up drawing trucks for GM and GMC and stuff like that for ads. And, you know, doing stuff for Tide, Dunkin' Donuts. That was fun. Wendy's. You know, but still in the back of my head, I'm like, man, I want to be drawing some giant monsters. But I did it because, you know what, I needed to eat. And then also another thing too was, you know, it helped me. It also, as I was drawing that stuff, it forced me to do stuff that would enhance my art skills. Because there's gonna be clients out there that's gonna want you to draw kind of, you know, things that may not be what you feel safe drawing. You know, you may have to draw buildings, cars. All right. All right, so I'm gonna go to the 01 now, just to go up a little bit. Surprisingly, I'm just freehanding it, a lot of this, you know. Is that confidence of just doing stuff because of just the years of doing it. And while I'm working on this, I'm really excited to say that I'm also working on some toy header art for a client that I've been doing a ton of stuff for. So as the life of a commercial illustrator, you know, I don't just work on one gig. I'm working on multiple gigs. So one second I'm doing this, and next minute I'm off. Now this is going to be full color, mind you. So this is like the first step. I used to do a ton of sketch cards back in 2009, and all the way up to 2013 maybe, like sketch cards in the sketch card industry. It was fun. I had the chance to work on a lot of cool sets, a lot of different brands, and yeah, I learned a lot. It definitely enhanced my skill set. You know, it taught me that I really became comfortable drawing like much smaller, which is really great, especially in advertising, because it was I was doing storyboards and stuff like that sometimes, so that helps when you're able to do stuff at a much smaller size. So how many Transformer fans out there? And I never want to give people the idea that I don't like. I love the Transformers. I'm actually a huge G1 fan. I'm just because that's when I grew up. I grew up in the G1 era, and I just loved it. I remember going to see Transformers the movie when it first came out at the theaters, and it just blew my mind. You know. But also, the thing about it is the Transformers universe has expanded so rapidly that I really don't know most of the characters. You know, I actually got a chance to watch that new Transformers. God damn hair. That Transformers that came out on Netflix. Finally got to check that out. I actually enjoyed it. I thought it was interesting. It was an interesting take. You know, I really liked it. All right, let's see. Whew. All right, so now what I did was I brought out these Staedtlar colored pencils because that's the little thing I used to do was I would do certain things in color and stuff, nice bold color. Now since even I don't have the skills to do like the Transformers decal really tight, I can just kind of you fudge it a little bit so you get the idea that it is the and draw it in red. A couple little hits there. I guess that's one of the things about it when you've done stuff like this for so long. There's a level where you just kind of when you lay things down, you just know where to just sort of put it, and you just go, huh? Because I've done it so long, so many times. Yeah, that Grimlock is pretty nice. Man, I look at the price of figures now, robots. Oh my god, my head is spinning. I right now I'm like one of those people where I just look at it and I just salivate, but I can't. It's just too costly, too expensive. I've had to become very selective in what I get these days. And I actually have figures that I have not even opened up. I think the last figure I got this year, it was two. I actually got the Getter Emperor. God, I forgot who the maker did, but I got that figure, and then I also got the Iron Giant. But yeah, it's crazy the amount of money that it is for these figures, man. You're talking $400 or $500, man. Even like $300. I remember the most expensive one I had at one point was my Vanguard Ace. At the time when it came out, and I spent money, and I remember I was like trying to convince myself, like, dude, do I really need it? And then I was like, yeah, I need Vanguard Ace. But yeah. All right, you guys can see. Hey everyone, thanks for watching and checking it out. Feel free to share this if you want. Share it into any kind of groups or whatever so other people can check it out too. Actually, let me see. Let me take a moment. Let me see if I can share it. Alright, I'm just gonna take a moment. I'm just gonna see if I can share it to some people. Great, let's see. on, come on, come on. Take a little. Oh, come on, stop moving. Wow, stop moving. All right. Well, I guess that's not working. Yeah, having a little bug issue over here. All right. Hey everybody, what's up? Still learning about this whole Facebook Live thing, man. Let's see. Come on, stop moving. Let's see. This thing's acting so weird. Oh, come on. Sorry guys, here, I'll definitely come back in there. This thing is acting silly. Trying to share this for a bunch of site people and stuff, and it's just not working for me. Not working for me. All right, I didn't leave you. I'm still here. See if you can see that a little bit, so you guys can check that out. Let's see. All right, pass it on to a few places so people can check it out. Yeah, it's acting all weird, man. All right. Okay. Oh, man, you guys are talking. All right, Eric. Check you later, bro. All right, I'm gonna get back to drawing now. But yeah, I shared it to a couple of places. All right, let's do this. This guy right here, this robot. Yeah, so what was I talking about? Oh yeah, I was talking about how expensive robots are, man. Whew. I mean, they're cool as anything, but man, it is costly. Costly stuff. Cool though. I mean, it is exciting. I think for me, because I remember as a kid growing up in Jamaica Plain in Boston. You know, I used to watch Force 5, and they used to have the commercial for Mr. Big Toyland. Was it 350? I hope I'm saying it right. 355 Moody Street, Waltham. Please, somebody correct me if I'm wrong. But I remember going there twice, and it was heaven. I can't even describe a place. Like it was so cool because it was just like this nondescript little place. But when you went in, it was like you were surrounded, but just like it was like Japan. Like like it was like the toy thing. Like everything, like every robot that you saw in there, it was just crammed with stuff. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful thing, man. Any chance that you could get to get out there, oh, I begged my mom. And I never forget when I went there, and at the time, I know, like now, I didn't think about it, but they used to have the big robots, Combatra and stuff like that. I don't know if those were poppies, the big ones that combined. I remember seeing Combatra, and I was begging my mom about it, and she was like, $60, boy, you crazy. Like $60. $60 was expensive back then, like in the 80s. Man, jeez, $60. But she ended up getting me, I forgot, she ended up getting me, and at the time, I didn't know who this robot was. It was Dayton. I know he can turn into like a tank and a jet. But I didn't know, like I remember he was solid die-cast metal, he was heavy. And I was so like, I thanked her for it and stuff, but he wasn't like any of the robots that I had seen, like in the Shogun Warrior comic book or like on Force 5. And so I was kind of like, you know, you kids, you pouch your mouth, like, okay, I'll take it. I took it and stuff. But mom was good. Mom hooked me up. I remember having the original, what's the one? The Godzilla. Those, oh God, the giant, no, okay, I'm all over the place. The Godakins, the Godakin. That was the Godakin that was like for $60, Kabatra. But my mom also gave me the I didn't get that. I didn't get the Godakin, but she ended up giving me Godzilla, who was like they had a name for them, like the big plastic one that had the wheels. They had Shogun Warriors too. I think I might have Raideen too. But I know I wrecked Godzilla. I did a childlike idiotic thing, and because his tongue, like they had the fire tongue. You press a button and they had the fire tongue, and I was like, that's not a Godzilla. Godzilla has fire, and like a kid, I just lit it on fire. I took a lighter and lit it on fire and kept pushing it in and out. The flames wrecked my rope, wrecked that toy, man. That toy's worth so much money now. Oh, it's painful. You know, childlike things, man. I just want to thank everybody once more for coming on by and enjoying. Again, I'm so last minute with these things, and you know, I was sitting here and I just said, you know, I had a great time doing the Shogun Warrior one, and I said, you know what, let's try this one. Let's try one with a sketch card. You know, I'm always amazed. Like, I love sketch cards in the sense that I almost feel like they're the perfect form of collecting original artwork from artists that you like. You know, whereas I mean, sure, you can get like the giant 11 by 17 image and stuff like that, and that's cool. But something about like somebody being able to do like what I'm doing right here, but it's small enough so that you can just put them into a nice portfolio. Because that's what I have. I actually have a portfolio of sketch cards as well from, you know, various artists that I've commissioned, and plus my own work. And it's nice. It's just like you can just open them up, you can close it, open it, and you got all this great artwork that's in there. You know, it's fun. Yeah, I don't do as many sketch cards. I did work on an Ultraman sketch card set this past summer, and I'm still waiting to see whether or not it's gonna, you know, when it's gonna come out and stuff. And a bunch of other people, a lot of fantastic artists worked on that set, man. And it's like, yeah, I definitely want to get in on when they start selling them. That's how for me, that's how you know when I really want it, because I'm like, you know, when there was a lot of great talent on it, I'm like, I gotta jump on that. Plus, it's the fact that it's representing a genre that I really like too. Yeah. All right, let's see. Hope you guys and ladies aren't bored just yet. I mean, this is where the magic happens, the fun stuff. Just sitting there, just drawing. If you want to see like an artist just sitting there and he's just drawing, listening to music, jamming out, creating art. All right. All right. It's looking good, man. I tell you one thing about the Transformers that's always been a challenge, man. Well, the thing about Transformers too, I mean, many times people see my artwork. I have a very organic style. You know, I don't make any bones about it. I grew up looking at super robots like Techigen 28, well, Astro Boy, but then also like Mazinga Z and Ghetto Robo G and stuff like that. So if you look at those kind of robots, they have a very organic, bulbous kind of design, very humanoid, very human design and stuff like that. And so, you know, I didn't like that. And then, you know, Combatler came along, Voltage V came along, and then they had more angles. Voltron or Beast Lion came along and stuff like that. Diroga 15. But I'm definitely a stickler for like just a bulbous shape. Like another good one would be Giant Robo. Just I just feel it's always it's more organic. I can because you can do a lot of cool things with that. Not saying you can't do it with the more angled kind of body type, but it does become a challenge. I put Gundam in that realm of being very angular. Like if you're looking at Gundam stuff, Gundam designs are very angular. But I got much respect for Gundam. I think that for me, I'm one of those kind of people where I look at the bigger picture of what do these things offer to the overall genre, and I think they help keep people interested. It becomes a generational thing. I don't know. I've started working on the that piece that I did again back in 2013, and the thing is that now it's like I'm trying to remember what characters that I really enjoyed and stuff, and sort of shape my childhood and stuff. So I started adding a few. I actually added Mechagodzilla, Jet Jaguar, of course, but also the Megazord, the Dino Megazord. I remember Power Rangers when it first came out. Surprisingly, I haven't drawn too much Power Ranger stuff. I have it's weird because I never really I followed, not really. I'm gonna say the whole Sentai, the Sentai whole thing. I watched a few shows, like Japanese Sentai shows and stuff like that. They were pretty cool and stuff, but it's just one of those things where they just kind of flew past me a little bit. I just was like, I was like glad they existed, but I wasn't like hardcore, like really into them. And then Power Rangers came, and then I remember checking out Power Rangers for a little bit, and then just kind of got off into other stuff. I am happy to hear that they're planning on talking about bringing some more Power Ranger stuff out, new stuff. So that's kind of cool. It means the brand is still still viable, and that's important. All right. Yeah. I guess I've watched so many different things. There's so much I like. I mean, I like Dalmatian. I love, I just sort of bounce around to all different things. But overall, the genre itself, I love. So, I'll tell people I love the genre, and anything that comes out of it, more power to it. As long as it keeps people engaged in talking about it, I'd rather people be talking about it than not talking about it. The worst thing is when you see something that you really love and then it just gets axed. Just because it's like, well, no one's not talking about it. We're not able to make money for it. So boom, this is dead. And you're just sitting there going, no. All right, let's hit you with a couple little. This guy's pretty cool. We'll put some crack lines in there. I love showing destruction. I'm just gonna say that right now. If anybody who sees my artwork, I love the fact of the underdog. There you go. I love the fact of the underdog. I love the fact of characters that are just like beat up and stuff. Again, like Mazinga Z. Mazinga Z, they show stuff where characters are bleeding, like fuel and whatever. But you go, wow, that's bleeding, damaged. Same thing with Transformers too. Yeah, that Netflix one. Oh man, that was pretty. Man, that was intense. I like that one. I was like, that was well done. All right, let's see. Takes a steady hand. I am so ready to see Godzilla. I really am. Godzilla versus King Kong versus Kong versus Godzilla. Or Godzilla versus Kong. So ready to see it. Patient, but man, I'm ready. So it's so weird at how the companies, how they handle it. And this whole thing with films and stuff putting out. Isn't it weird? Alright, so anyway, let's get the temple up a little bit. I'm gonna break out the Pentel brush pen. Just do a couple of little lines in here. Little drag, nice little drag. And again, it's like you can't be intimidated. Like, yeah, I got a little thing right over there, but that's okay. It's this crazy notion where people are always trying to find perfection. And it's like, I don't even know what perfection is when it comes to art, man. You know, I know I draw, I enjoy it. You know, if other people enjoy it, that's cool. And I kind of move on. I don't know that whole thing where you get, like, people get so, you know, and again, I think that it's just because of years of me, I'll just throw that in there, years of me working as a commercial illustrator is kind of just giving me this different perspective. You know, I had many people who I did stuff for, work for, and stuff, and they just were, they say, look, you know, you're doing this, you're doing a great service. This is a service that people need done, and that kind of, my mindset has kind of been in that place, you know. Although I will admit, and this is the other side of it, it is nice. It is actually more than nice, but really humbling when people who genuinely don't even know you and whatever see your artwork and they have such a you know, a feel toward it. They go, man, you know, some may not like it, but you know, I've been very fortunate that people have been really digging it, you know. So at one point I always thought, you know, you sat there and you think, you go, man, I don't know if my style is going to be a style that people are going to really dig, you know. I thought of I don't even know if this is a word that even exists, retrofusion. I like the way that sounds. I don't even know what that means. I just make up words. But I was thinking that, I said, man, what is my style? Is it like retrofusion? It's a mixture of like some of the new stuff, but then also it's definitely harkens to the old days. You know, like I'm starting to see more cross-hatching and stuff coming back. Like you see artwork that just looks like it's just gnarly, man. Like, you know, nice lines, and I'm starting to see that. But I think we went to that phase with digital, where digital is a very clean style. I mean, it's clearly some people can add a little bit extra in it, but in most cases it has almost animation kind of style, where it's just line art and then color comes in to build it up. But you're starting to see some art that's like where it's a lot of cross-hatching and things like that. These old techniques that I went to school and you know, learned about. Oh man, getting there. Oof. So I'm gonna add some things up in there. It's got some shadow. Let's add some stuff. Alright, so people still there? You still there in Facebook land? Alright. Get a little bit of that, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Alright. Alright, so I'm gonna show him like sort of crunching, like he's crunching on his head. Well, that what is it? Helmet guard that he has over his head. I mean, I was blown away by this character, Cryotek. I'm like, this guy looks like Megatron, right? Does Megatron become this character, or, you know? Like, it's interesting, you know. Let's see. All right, so I'm gonna hit this with a little bit of. I'm gonna take out my trusty. It's pretty dirty right now though. Kneaded eraser. This little gem right here. Hope you guys can see. And I'm gonna tap this a little bit. Yeah, just a little tight. I just want to lighten it up a little bit. Get that aggression out. All right. Give it a little bit more. All right, cool. So tap that out. Hold on a second. Let me adjust my seat. Lose myself here. Get a little bit of. All right. Jeez. I told you how it sucks getting older. No, it doesn't. Nope. Frank's just pulling it. It feels good. Feels good. I'm glad I made it at this point. Yeah, this cactus is so weird, man. What's this? All right. So his helmet, I'm gonna use my blue thin liner, and when this gets colored up, it's gonna look really nice. But nice and all right. Yeah, some people really love the the cold press Bristol. I never, I always felt it just dry my pens out, I like a more slicker kind of, all right. All right, let's see what we got. Hey everybody, thanks for coming by and checking it out. Frankie B. Washington, right here. 30 years working in the art industry as a commercial illustrator. And done some work on advertising, did some toy stuff, done some comic book stuff as well. Trading cards, sketch cards, animation, what else? Film too. I almost forgot. Yeah, did some film stuff. It's fun. Right. So yeah, I think sometimes when I tell people I've been in it for 30 years, they go, "Whoa, dude." Yeah. Yeah, I've been in it for a minute. It's like when I look back, I guess, many people have seen me when I post my memory lane stuff, but that's just, that's a small bite. Like, I don't even post my stuff really of just my advertising work and stuff, But it's like I have like, cases of just artwork, just, here. And, I'm just like, wow, I can't believe sometimes I have to pinch myself because I can't believe the bulk of work that I've done. And just so many really just different projects. I mean, and also, I've worked on patches. I've done patch art for morale patches, custom patches. So it's like I sit there sometimes and it's kind of like really, cathartic for me because I'm like, I can't believe I did this stuff. And the different styles, like I've had to draw My Little Pony. Yeah, I remember I got a gig. It was a last minute gig from an agency and they were pitching. And I had to do My Little Pony. And yeah, I think I got the drawing somewhere scrolled away. But yeah. But I wouldn't have it any other way either. That's just how I've always been like that. I like working on different things. I like sort of testing myself. I painted a TP once. That was a gig. Got paid to paint a TP. You know, some guy contacted me, and when I went to the place, I found out that there was a production. It was like a production. How can I say it? Like for supplies for like they did like. They did various like items and stuff for shows and whatever, and so I'm like, yeah, what's going on? I'm expecting I'm gonna have a table, I'm gonna draw, they need illustrations, blah blah blah, but oh no. They needed somebody who can paint a teepee. So, you know, the straight out hustler in me, you know, because I've been at this for a minute, I said, okay, I guess I can paint a teepee, and I painted that teepee. I never heard back from the guy. And he got paid for the gig and stuff, and that was cool. But yeah, that was a strange one. That was one of those weird. He has those stories where you go, man, that was a weird one, man. That was a really into one, and it was cool. I was just like, well, at least I can say that I painted a TP. And I forget, I had a old schooler once who told me, he said, dude, you know what? He said, before you leave this world, you want to have interesting stories. And I was like, stories? Kevin, no, I worked in animation. I was hired by an animation studio. I did a lot of storyboards and I did more concept art. I was not an animator. I actually did try to do some tests, but it was old school. It was, you're talking about in the mid 90s and stuff, so computers weren't really that big. So it was still a 2D animation studio. They did stop animation, and yeah, it was stop animation and 2D animation. And so they brought me in, and I was like the concept artist, concept storyboards. So I got to draw cool 2D art, and then give a few hours. They would take my art, and then it would come back, and I would see a diorama of stuff. Like somebody would sculpt things out and stuff, you know. Or I would design like, you know, some kind of piece or whatever that would be used for a shoot. But no, I'm definitely not an animator. Although I will say that when I worked there, I picked up a lot of stuff from animators. So I would say that yes, I do use Photoshop for coloring, but also if I had to, I use markers and whatever. And it's been rare, but I haven't used watercolors in a long time. But I can use watercolors. My mindset of coloring is pretty close to what old of animation is. I'm not a huge fan of putting too much shading on stuff, especially with my kind of style. My style is I tend to go very heavy-handed with blacks, the contrast of strong contrast of blacks and stuff like that. And so for me, when I color, I think of just flats, nice gradient flats and stuff like that, and let the similar to how I had the chance of meeting Mike Mignola years ago, and it was at a show in New York and stuff, and he was cool. He was like, he looked at my stuff and he was just like, yeah, man. He said, yeah, you like to use a lot of darks and stuff like that. Just be mindful of the lights and darks and negatives, positives, that kind of stuff. But earlier on, it was just that thing, just being conscious of the fact that you got these bold line works and stuff like that. You really don't need a lot of color to just sort of overpower that, So you have to treat the color as something where, for me, I treat it like just a flat kind of thing. Also, when I worked in advertising, I started getting used to doing spot coloring. Spot coloring is when you sort of think of it more like dab coloring, like it's just like doop doop doop, little spots here and there, and it really is amazing, because if you look at artwork from many illustrators who have worked in advertising, it's some beautiful work. It's really it's a very organic kind of feel to it. It doesn't look, it's not really that finished. It doesn't look really finished, but it is finished. And I started, really enjoying that kind of way of coloring. So I would say that I'm heavily influenced by my past animation and advertising coloring. But yeah, storyboarding, that was my main thing. That's why they hired me. They hired me because of that, based off of that, my storyboarding skills. I love sequential art. I'm one of those people where when I used to read comic books, I love Jack Kirby. I really loved Herb Trimpe's work because it was really fun. There was a lot of energy in it. But I would say John Byrne pretty much cemented it for me. his level of storytelling sequentially is just he's up there, man. I mean, clearly there's others, you know. I mean, I can just keep going on and on. Alan Davis, oh my God, George Perez. But I would say those that John Byrne probably influenced me the most. And his level of just telling a story, telling action, really emphasizing the power of that action. Again, I was just saying like these scenes right here, this thing right here, that's you know, that's John Byrne, where you just see little pieces and fragments and stuff like that. And clearly other people did it too, you know, like George Perez also. A lot of people don't even talk about Paul Ryan too. Paul Ryan is another person who I was heavily influenced by. Amazing artist. But no, I tried to do some illustrate. I actually tried to do an animation test, and I was just like, ugh, it's not my thing. That's what I mean. I think sometimes people think, they go, well, you know, what do you want to do? And it's like, I know what that makes me excited. And I love animation, but I'm not an animator. I think that, you know, if you're an animator, and animators I knew, they were truly animators. You know, that means they eat, sleep, drink animation. Like they love, like they know everything. I knew animators who were like, they knew the history of animation, and they just hardwired for that. And I truly believe that there are certain people like that. Like they're just hardwired for it. They're passionate about it. I just wasn't. I think another thing was I learned from that experience that I just wasn't passionate enough. I respect animation, but I'm just not as passionate about it. And that's okay, you know. That's the good thing about the art industry, is that it's so vast. You can find something in here for you to work for you. All right. Whew, man. First off, I'm glad you are all sticking around. Sitting there watching the old man drawing some artwork. Ain't that something? God, man, I couldn't even imagine. Like, again, I'm a kid from the 70s and 80s. It's just crazy. Like this would have been a dream for me, because I remember when I was in high school, was it Dorchester High, 9th grade? I remember the first time they did an assembly meeting in the auditorium, and they said, yeah, we got an illustrator coming in. And I was all giddy, man. I was happy. Everybody else was just like, yeah, you know, because they're like, oh, you got some dude drawing funny pictures. And I can't recall who the guy was, but he was a famous illustrator for the Boston Globe. He might have been other newspapers too, but he did a lot of sports illustrations. I just remember like when he opened his portfolio up, he had a picture of Larry Bird, but it had Larry Bird's head on a pitcher's body, stuff like that. Like the Chief, he drew him as a Chief and stuff, and I just remember I was just blown away by that. You know, like my other friends, they didn't get it. You know, well, maybe some. I can't say for all of them, but for me, it was just an amazing moment. Like I was like, wow, I remember asking him, I was like, you actually get paid to draw? And he was like, yeah. And I mean, he was really good. I mean, you're not talking. This is all hand drawn, man, just beauty. Like what you saw on that paper was what you got, and it was just beauty, sheer beauty. So that, I remember that moment. That stuck in my head, and I was like, man, I want to do this. Among all my other dreams, I wanted to be in the Air Force and all this crazy stuff. All right, let's see. All right, so I'm gonna hit it again. I'm gonna hit it with some blue. This is a little thing that I love doing. I used to do it a lot for a lot of cards. The cards I did for when I worked in the sketch cards for Upper Deck and Rittenhouse and stuff like that. I love doing little effects and stuff. And then of course you gotta put some of the Kirby crackle in there. You know, gotta represent. There you go. Boom, boom, boom. Ugh. All right, so here I'll take a little moment, little interlude, and show you guys the back of this. Okay, this is the back. This is 2015 BotCon cards. When people commission me to do stuff on these cost a little bit more than my regular price, just because they're very rare cards, and they were only given to like artists who worked on sets and stuff like that. So I like to let people know. I say, well, this is not price for if you're doing them on my regular card stock. And then this is the, this price is definitely going to change because it's going to be on official cardstock. I'm using a non-sticky kind of tape and stuff, easy to pull off and stuff. Won't pull any of this beautiful stuff off. None of that. Won't damage that. Nope. Yeah, won't damage that. Double check. Oops. Nah, it's good. And then there you go. So it has a nice official logo in there. Then I'm gonna write the name. The client wanted me to do the names and stuff, so I'll put it in there, and then I sign my John Hancock down there. It's coming along pretty good. A little character, huh? A little detail. All right, and then actually here, I'll give you guys a little break. I took out some cards for people to see, so any newcomers, I'll go through a quick flip of some stuff to the previous cards I did. Again, this was a Transformers cover recreation that I did. Usually it's weird. Oh yeah, here it goes. Because I like to try to tell people beforehand that if you do any kind of recreation, you should say after the person who did, the original artwork. So if you can see really here, and it's really tough to see right there, it's like after Bill Sinkovich. I hope I'm saying his name right. It's a tough. You know what I'm talking about. But anyway, I had this. I get these itches, and I at the time, I think I did this back in 2013. At the time, I saw a lot of sketch card artists that were doing cover recreations, but in sketch cards. And I said, you know what? I'm going to try that. So, I decided to break out one of my cards. It's one of my cards and stuff. And I thought I'd take my hand at it. And it's tough. I'm not going to lie. It wasn't an easy thing. That's why I don't do a lot of cover recreations anymore. But I'm very happy what I did with these. And I thought it captured somewhat the feel of it, of how the actual comic book cover looked. So I was very happy with that. All right, and then let's see what else I got so you guys can see. This is a more recent one I did this year. Again, I get these little itches, and I go, what if Mechagodzilla somehow got into the Robotech or Macross universe? And then I thought it would be kind of funny. You see a Valkyrie kind of flying back here and transforms, and he lands and he goes, what kind of Zentradi is this? So, this is just me just having fun with the different properties and stuff like that. I'm from the old school where I know some people sometimes will sort of, in my opinion, overthink things. They'll go, oh man, how can this possible? And they'll start trying to analyze why something is. Me, I grew up in a time where, the sky's the limits. If I want to show the Hulk trying to punch, Mechagodzilla, then why can't I? There's no limits to it. Art shouldn't be about, just sticking by some kind of weird framework where everything's got to be explained. Like, theoretically, because the height of, that's where that kind of, my brain goes a little numb from that stuff. I like the fact of the freedom of being able to draw really cool stuff. And if people who like cool stuff see it and they get a reaction to it, then more power to it, man. So there you go. That's a little bit of working in my insight into my mindset. This was another piece that I did years ago, 2011. This was on the BotCon, Transformers BotCon 2011 cardstock. This is another rare one. I got the itch to do Soundwave with Ravage and stuff, Again, when I look at stuff like this, as an artist myself, I can always see the discrepancies and things and how I might do things a little bit different. But, overall, it was done, and I'm very happy how it looks and stuff. There's some fluorescent gel pen work in there as well. All right, let's see what we got here. I really loved Beast Wars a lot, so I had to do an Optimus Primal and Megatron, and I like these. Something about I just like how clean these look. I decided to, instead of do a solid black for Optimus Primal, I just went for a cross hatching, and then on this side, I went with a more cleaner black line, heavier line with Megatron and stuff. So it's kind of weird, like you get these kind of distinct two little weird, even though they're the same. Clearly, I'm the person who did it. Same kind of style. It's like you get these different kind of techniques. So I love doing that stuff, playing around with different techniques. But anyway, yeah, That was from 2011. 2011 cards there. Okay. And then, of course, this is my RC. Oh my God, I had one person, I posted this a while ago. Someone was like, man, her what is it, her hood or whatever is too big and whatever. And I felt like when I drew this, I think most likely I was probably looking at how the toy was, I think, and then just was like, well, let me just make sense, it would just be bigger or whatever. But I'm a big, huge fan of RC, and I just thought this would really be cool to do. So I had this one for a while. 2011. All right. And there's a, this was a nice one. This is 2017. This is a black and white. Ironhide. A nice clean little hits and stuff. That's that whole thing too, where in advertising, where we started doing these little effects of just hitting stuff, and you get these interesting little shadowing and shading and stuff to it. This was on my own cardstock. And then right here, I got some actual trading cards that I did for BotCon. It was the 20th anniversary that I did. I have some other cards too. I did Ravage. I did a Ravage card. And who's the other character? There's another character too, but those were colored by other people, so I don't have those in right here. Unfortunately, they're up somewhere. That's another one I did. This is all me. That was pretty fun. That was a BotCon again. And then this one was really fun. First off, here, I'll do it this way so you can see it. So it was like I did Dad, of course, first, draw him out. And then they said, well, you want one where it's like, Mayhem Returns, Round Table, 2015. So, Mayhem Attack Squad. So there you go. All right. You like that little interlude? How's everybody doing out there? All right. Okay. All right. All right, let's keep this going. All right. Once again, I'd like to just thank you for just dropping on by and, hanging out with me while I lay some art down. All right. Yeah. All right. All right. Yeah, Kevin, that was the whole point. They said that they wanted it to look like the Queen cover and stuff. So I said, okay. Yeah. Good call on that one, yeah. Yeah, those were fun to do. Yeah, those were really fun. I had a chance to work on an official Transformers card set years ago, and God, I did so many cards. Now that I look back at it, I wish I did more G1 cards. I actually did, because originally when they sent the things that we were allowed to draw, they emphasized the film stuff, and part of me was like, oh, okay, but but also I looked at it as a challenge. I was like, okay, I shouldn't want to have to, I shouldn't, excuse me, sort of shy away from something like that. It's just another challenge, something else to draw. I'm an artist, I should be able to draw it. So, so I did a bunch of those, but I ended up getting a lot of G1 characters into. Those were really fun. I think that was Bridget Marketing that I worked on those, and when I learned that I was going to be on that set, it was just like, and I think again I had other gigs going on, and I just was like, I'm making the time. I pushed myself on that one. Oh, thanks, man. Yeah. Well, the thing about it is, it's always great when a client is. First off, it's always great when a client is confident in the skills of the person that they're hiring. The artist or the illustrator. It's always nice when they trust you. They trust the fact that again, I go back to the whole analogy of a if I go to my mechanic, I trust the fact that my mechanic's going to, their expertise, that they're going to be able to do a solid job. If I didn't, then why would I be there? Why would I be giving them business? So I feel the same way. Like we who are contractors technically. It's really nice when you have clients who just kind of like are saying, yeah, we trust the fact of your professionalism, and they're like, well, here you go, this is what we want, and boom, go ahead, make it happen. That's always a pleasure, and I've been very fortunate. Unfortunately, I've had some really fantastic clients that have, they've been there, and they've if there has been any issue or whatever, I've been able to bang it out or whatever. The art wise and stuff like that. But many times they've just been really happy. They've been like, oh yeah, okay, I wasn't even expecting that. That's always been one of my things that really make me very happy, is the fact of being able to do something that actually surprises a client, where they're just like, oh shoot, I wasn't even expecting that. That always makes you feel pretty good. All right. Wow. Hooking this up, man. My favorite Transformers are the Dinobots, just in case anybody was interested. Yeah, I've always loved, well, again, it just makes sense. I love Kajus, and I loved Godzilla and stuff like that. So Grimlock and them are, in my mind, mechanized versions. I've always liked the Dinobots. When they first were introduced into the on the animated show, it just was like, woohoo! I was excited. I was like, oh shoot, yes, you got me. Oh man, I love that show. The music too, everything on it was so on point on that show, on the original G1 anime. Like just the music, everything was just on point. All right, so what I'm gonna do is, hey everybody, all newcomers that are coming and watching, thanks for coming, thanks for checking it out. Frankie B in the house, doing some artwork. I also have a YouTube page. If anyone's interested, it's in, pretty much go to YouTube and just do a search for my name, full name, Frankie B. Washington, and it should pop up. That's the good thing. Like I learned a long time ago from my teachers in school, like they said, people need to know who you are. And so you want to make it, make your name accessible, so that, so that people can find it, so easy. So yeah, I felt true to that. The good thing is that, yeah, it's not My name, some people have said my name is very unique, almost like an entertainer's name and stuff, but it's truth. That's my name. Frankie B. Can't you see? It's just me. Listening to some beats. Like, oh, brother, shut this guy up. All right, let's see. Oh, man. All right, let's see. I think I'm going to put some, again, I'm going to throw some stuff in here because part of me is like, you know what, this guy, he has to have some kind of energy going on in here. So I'm going to throw some Kirby crackles. I think that look kind of cool in there. All right. Yeah, if anybody interested, someone asked me earlier about the music and stuff. This is actually royalty-free music that I end up getting from off of YouTube. I just just downloaded a whole bunch of them and stuff, and got some jams. And I kind of like it. I like to listen. Sometimes not just the lyrics and stuff, just the music, because you can just kind of, well, you wouldn't be able to hear my lovely voice if I had lyrics and stuff. You'd be thinking about the jams, man. You'd be like, shut this guy up. All right, let's see what we got here. I would also suggest, and I like to throw out props to various artists that are out there, but there's an artist by the name of Nar, and I think it's Julio, and me and Nar goes back. He's like, I consider him one of the apex of the sketch card industry and stuff, one of them, and if you really want to see some super detailed stuff, man, especially with sketch cards that'll blow your mind, you have to search him out. Julio, Julio, Nar, Nar. His stuff is phenomenal. He is a true, like, man. I would say he was one of the artists that when I first got into the sketch card industry who really sort of just by looking at his style and stuff like that really kicked me in the butt to be like, you know what, I can get something more into this small size. Like, it became a test to see what I can do. When I work on sketch cards, it's always just, my mind goes to the point like, what can I get in there? Again, if you look at this is merely, well, it's 2 cards, but it's 2.5 by 3.5. How much can you get in there? That's the test. Another amazing artist too. I like to throw a shout out to Matt Frank. I actually finally got commissioned Matt to do some sketch cards for me. Sketch card art. He did a tremendous job. He also is working on the Ultraman. He also worked on the Ultraman set, that I worked on as well. So Matt's pretty well known in the Kaiju community. I think it's so important that we as artists, like, we shouldn't be jealous of one another, not in that degree and stuff like that. I always think that every artist has a different flavor, and that the thing is that you want to be able to have choices, and everyone has their choices on what they like. In the years that I've always worked, when I would go out and see various artists work, I didn't get jealous. My first thoughts like, man, what are they doing, and what can I learn from that? That's how I've always approached it, and in most cases it would get me really jazzed up. Like, if I saw an artist who I felt was doing something really unique and different, I'd be like, well, I want to learn something. How can I learn something from this person? This person clearly has a style, or they're doing something that is really unique and different. I'm not gonna be a hater. I'm gonna learn. I want to be educated by this. And so I'm very happy. Very happy to see a lot of really strong, talented artists that are just, that have been around, and some new ones popping up. Especially with the very professional mindset. I think for someone who, like myself, who's been in the industry for a long time, there's that mindset that's so important, you know. You know, for me, it's like I tell any up and coming artist, your rep means everything. Your word has to mean something. You know, so when you do jobs and stuff like that, you should be looking at the sense that you're building capital in who you are as a brand. You know, so that when people reach out or whatever, and they want to, you know, hire you and stuff, they're hiring what your brand is offering and stuff, and then knowing that there's that they know that they're hiring somebody who's professional, that somebody who's going to give them quality work, quality customer service, and you know, hopefully you'll be able to get more work with them. You know, it's more than just the drawing aspect. There's a lot more that goes into this. Oh, I see. Oh, I screwed up. Well, I had a little accident there, and what happened was I got confused because I thought it was like chipping away at his helmet. But it's good that people see this. So what happened is that he's actually, when was it Sentinel Maximus, he reached over, he's like crushing his helmet. He broke this piece off his shoulder blade and stuff, and so that's what these pieces were. But that's okay, you know. That's an easy save. One of the things about it, you gotta keep it calm, keep it cool. Things will work out. There's no sense in trying to, you know, push yourself. Be like, oh man, perfection is, it's good. I gotta redo it over. Well, in situations like that, you know, I don't have a lot of these cards and stuff, so I can't just, you know, just trash it. I gotta make it work. You know. Yeah, it's looking good. Yeah, what time is it? 9:07. What? All right, once again, thanks again everyone for coming by and checking out what I'm doing. You know, I'm one of those people where I like to just kind of pop up and just do these things. I'm not for all the big announcements and things like that. That's just not my flavor. Kind of just, you know. I'm really honored that a lot of people are digging the stuff that I've been posting and stuff like that. That really makes me feel good. You know, I'm hoping, if anything, what makes me feel even better is that it inspires the next generation of artists. Like, you know, it's like when I was young and having that experience with that, you know, in the auditorium of my high school, and seeing that illustrator, sports illustrator, who was there, who came to visit for the day, how powerful, how it impacted me. To want to, I think it was part like him coming and then in and talking to us kids and stuff, but just the fact that, you know, that it was just this thing that he was doing. And even though at the time when I was a kid, you know, my mindset was like, you know, draw comic books and stuff, it still was the fact that he was an artist. He was somebody who was making a living, that it just wasn't like this crazy pipe dream, you know. Because I'm sure, you know, I like that, Kevin. Happy little accidents. Yeah, man. My teacher used to say that stuff too, man. Bob Ross. With Bob Ross. Love Bob Ross. My teacher also said that when I was in art school. He was like, don't sweat it. That was always a big thing with my teacher. Don't sweat it, man. It ain't the end of the world. Nothing that a jar of whiteout can't solve, huh? Even whiteout has its limits. Trust me. All right. Yeah, let's see. Man, this is going pretty good. All right. Yeah, so while I'm doing this, I have that other gig too. That's doing some header art for a pretty cool toy company, a toy maker in Hong Kong. So gotta sort of what we used to call back in the day double dipping. That's when you had a couple of gigs and stuff going on, so you just kind of, it's like an assembly line. You look at this one, get this one going, and then you push that one aside and you get a little bit more of the other one done, and vice versa. That's the thing about being a commercial illustrator, is that work is so fleeting. It's just kind of like, gigs come super fast, and it's always at that level of sink and swim kind of process, where it's like, boom, we got this gig for you, can you do it? And you sit there with this dumbfounded look in your face going, oh man, I just planned for a weekend, whatever, to hang with my friends. And it's like, they'll look at you again and say, can you get it done? And so you either have to decide whether or not you can get it done or not. If you can't, then fine, they'll find somebody. There'll be another artist, someone like myself, who will be sitting there in the wings waiting. You're like, okay, I'll take it off your hand. I'm a huge fan of just keeping it real with people, especially when it comes to art, because I treat art. This is my life. This is my life pretty much, and I want any new people that come into it to treat it with seriousness too. I want it to be serious, like this is business. I want you to succeed. I don't think I never, any person that I've ever seen who's contacted me or whatever for art, I want them to succeed. I want every artist out there, creative person, to succeed. But I want them to succeed on a level where the bar is high. I want it to move the bar up and up, because by moving the bar up and up, that ensures the fact that the quality of work, the quality of customer service, that all that goes a part of it will be maintained or exceed. I want it to exceed. For it to survive, we need top quality. We need top quality people doing top quality things. Artists. So, and I don't care what style it is. Every artist has their own voice, and I say that's the thing. I want artists to be able to perfect their voice, just like writers. You perfect your own voice. People, can see who you are, and they be like, man. But also, I want you to be able to come in here with a very professional mindset. There's a time to play, and then there's a time to get everything in gear and get working. All right, let's see how this is doing. Woo, man, cranking. All right, let's see what I'm gonna do. Oh man, all right. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna break out the Pentel brush again. I'm just gonna sort of dabble right in here. Hopefully we won't have any more of those happy little accidents. All right, let's see. Happy little accident. Let's see. No. All right. All right. Can't believe it. The other day, I was singing in the kitchen, because that's what I do. And Jess, my wife Jess, she actually videotaped me. You can't see me, but you can hear me. And the cat's in shadow. Our cat, our fur baby, she's watching me, looking at me like I'm crazy, because I like to sing, man. Get into my singing mood, man. She's like, that's how you know he's really happy, is when I start singing. Tells the sound. I'm not singing, and I start putting my hood face on. And it's not gonna be nice. It's like, uh-oh, nah. Just a kid in the projects, man. Just a kid in the projects. All right. Let's see. All right. Boy, you don't know, man. One day, I pray that one day we'll get to see look at Nolan. Yeah, Tubi. I used to have Tubi. I don't have Tubi anymore. I do. I've started picking up. I actually just got Captain Earth. I remember seeing it briefly, and then I ended up just getting it. But the tough thing is, unfortunate, is that time. You know, I got all these different videos, but it seems like there's never enough time to really just watch them. You know, I really don't watch a lot of stuff. That much time watching things and stuff, because I'm doing this. Yeah. You know, but you know, when I had my surgery, I was watching. I actually never finished up. I remember when I had my surgery, I was watching the $6 Million Man, and I got through this. I forgot what season I stopped. Yeah, because once I got better, then it's like, you know, I've been able to even sit back and watch that, and I didn't even get onto the Bionic Woman. I got like the DVD sets and stuff. It's always a tough thing because I prefer to draw it more than anything than watching TV and stuff. And unfortunately, trying to watch something while drawing is really tough, especially when there's no dubbing. It's actually, I would say it's a lot easier because then I can probably put my little DVD player up or whatever and try to watch it, or even my phone. But if it's not dubbed, then I can't read it while I'm drawing. Yeah, and like I said, I'm so hardwired. When I'm on a gig, I'm very professional. Like I don't play around, man. I'm like boom, 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 because it's just that's how I'm hardwired. I've been doing it for so long that immediately I don't look at it like, oh yeah, this is, just hanging out and whatever. This is like me, doing a gig for a client, and and I want to make sure I can get this to the client, and I want to get the best product, the finished product to the client. So it's really tough for me to be able to, do things like watch stuff. It's almost like the days of when I used to work at the animation studio and stuff. It's like it was so cool, but everybody heads were down and we worked, and then we'd have our break and go to whatever, get some food or whatever. But you worked. You got stuff done. And then it got done, then you take a sigh of relief, and then maybe there could be a short break in between another gig coming along. So, and then the machine goes on and on and on. Oh, this character. God. I will say, man, there is a part too where the designs of a lot of mechs these days, there's just so much stuff on them. Oh, wait a sec. Uh-oh. Let's see what I just did. I don't like that. That looks weird. Let me just see. Yeah. He has a weird short body, huh? Yeah. It's weird. Yeah. Now you know the point where I'm starting to talk to myself slowly. I'm like, this looks a little hard. All right, make it work, Frank. Make it work. But the point I was saying is that many of these mechs have so much stuff on them that, I'll be honest, it looks really cool. It looks really cool as static art. But if you're trying to do it like in a way to do it like sequentially, it's a complete nightmare. That's just my humble opinion, man. If someone had to sit there and draw like all that detailed stuff on it, it'd be insane, man. Doing an action pose is no problem. That's just a static piece of artwork. You just, okay, it's a one-off, and yeah, I did this cool piece and whatever, and I see that. But then my mind's going, yeah, but sequentially, how would that character look moving? Even like I look at some of this stuff now today, and they use a lot of CG kind of animation and stuff. And the thing about it is that, yeah, CG, the robots, I think, in a certain degree, CG animation is cool. Things like the Transformers, because Transformers look like they had weight. They look like actual, like, lunky machines and whatever. I will admit though that when I was watching, and this is the new Netflix one that I was watching, it did lack a lot of the energy of like if you watch the movie Transformers, the movie, the animated movie from the 80s, and how the fact of like when Optimus Prime and Megatron fight, they fight like real, like you feel like real people, like this movement, real exaggerated movement. I kind of miss that. I like the fact that CG is able to make them look like heavy clunky machines, but there's still something missing where it's kind of like, you don't get that nice organic, like, wow, he's scrapping and he's down, and then Optimus balls his fist up and then pops him one. It knocks him over the cliff. That stuff's amazing, man. Hey, William, what's up, man? All right. All right, let's see what we got. All right, I'm getting there. Not bad. What are we looking at? 921. Wow. Like cruising. Cruising, man. Cruising. Yeah, I agree with you, Nolan, man. It definitely was stiff, man. I think that's the key thing. It's like I like I like the Transformers, and I like robots, but I think the thing is missing in super robots and mechs and stuff like that. But there's that missing that sense of organic feel, where they can ball their fist up, they can move, they can do all these cool things and move around, but they don't seem to just clunky. So that's probably my only my gripe and stuff. And it's funny because again, I can look at the other side of it and I understand why they do this kind of animation. It's cost effective. They're able to put something out super, probably much more quicker than it would be for old school 2D animation. I get it, but still there's that part of me where I'm like, man, I wish that there could be some way in which they could find a nice middle ground where we're not losing a lot of that great action. It's tough, man. I kudos to like the artists for Transformers, the many artists that have worked on the Transformers stuff, IDW and stuff like that. Much kudos to them. Like they're able to capture that kind of movement and stuff with these robots. My dream, if I was gonna say a dream comic book gig job, would be easy enough. Would be doing a Red Ronin comic book for Marvel. Yeah, it's almost like, because I had the fantastic opportunity of knowing Herb Trimpe, and got to speak to him before he passed away and stuff. And I told him how much of a huge influence he was for me. Like I was like literally, that first time seeing that Shogun Warriors cover was just like that. I cemented. It was like the start of it. My love for to try to do this. It was part of like it was already planted in there in my head. And I love his art style. I love it, man. I look at the old. I still own them, and the old Godzilla that Herb Trimpe did. And Herb Trimpe's known for his the Hulk stuff, as well as other things too. I mean, he worked on so much stuff for Marvel, but he something about his style. There was this sense of like you clearly can tell he could draw, clearly draw, amazing. But just there wasn't that sense where everything had to be just right. And I think that's the thing that I like the most. Like everything that, like the buildings don't have to be right. There was times when the Shogun Warriors, like their size would change, and it was okay. It was like one of those things where I loved it. It was pure escapism, but the most I loved was how his action, how he handled the action of the robots, where they fought as if they were fighting like like Marvel characters. Like if you took them out and you just put in like Captain America or the Hulk or whatever, their movements were just like that. And I love that. I was like, man, he did such an amazing job. But yeah, that would be my dream book. Like if they said, oh yeah, we want to do Red Ronin, and come along, and Ideally, take some of those old monsters. Like they try to do that monster thing, and I tried to get into it. I see have some of the books and stuff. It confused the hell out of me. But you know, again, I sit back. Is that probably like, oh, I'm glad they did it, but still, it confused me a lot. But yeah, that would be fun. That would be really fun. That would be something where I'd be really excited. You know, I know they can't do the Shogun Warriors, but Red Ronin would be really nice to do. Really, you know, just to capture the old magic of how Red Ronin was when Herb Trimpe was working on there. I'd be really trying to channel that. Oh man. All right. All right. Let's hit it with a little bit back here. And I think we're getting there. You're in there. All right, use the back of this board. Yep. And actually, I'm drawing on the back of a pad of 11 by 14 Bristol paper. I think it's a smooth stock. Yeah, I think it's always smooth stock. Yeah, this is hot press. Yeah, man, I love hot press. Like this, the consistency of these cards are cold press. And cold press to me I feel like it just dries out really. It dries quick, and so the pros of it is that it dries really quickly. I've always tended to like a more slicker kind of feel of this little, so that would get me in trouble sometimes really with ink, because then I would have little accidents. Something be still wet, and I'm like, oh, and then I'd be like, all right, I gotta try to figure this out a way to save this. All right. All right. Hey, man, I just want to say thank you so much for everyone still hanging in there with me, man. I mean, god dang, you guys. Jeez, you're killing me here. Thanks for hanging out and listening to an old man rant. I know, I just turned 50, man. When I say it, I'm just busting balls on it. You know, trust me, I've never felt stronger, and man, I feel great at the age of 50. Jeez, I remember as a kid thinking of 50 was like, I was like, oh no, and now it's like now that it's here, it's like, dude, I'm in the best shape of my life. God, more disciplined. So yeah, I just do it because that's what we did back in the day. Back in the way, man. I don't know if anybody out there remember Kraken. Remember Kraken? Come on, you guys know Kraken. Kraken's old school when you can joke with your buddies and stuff, man, and someone says a joke. It was always rules though. We always had the rules. Like Kraken was that it would shift if it got to like moms and sisters. But if dads were, yeah, you know, dad, you can always crack on the dad, you know. But yeah, it would always get weird, like if you start trying to crack on somebody's mom or their sister, man. It's like, oh, okay, dude, all right. But yeah, that used to be cracking was a way of, I guess, I don't know, for me, it was a way of like knowing how the limits of somebody, like, you know, if they're cool enough to hang. Because, you know, if you can take a joke or whatever, especially when it's aimed against you, then that's cool. You know, you're not gonna be one of those quick triggered people who get all teed off and stuff because someone says something that you don't like. You know, level head and whatever. So for me, people I used to hang around with, we sort of all had that kind of personality where we crack jokes and stuff like that, and we knew that eventually, if it did eventually get to somewhere, If somebody wasn't feeling it or whatever, then we would chill. You know, you just be like, all right, cool, man, no problem. We ain't gonna have to, not have to scrap over this. Just talking some nonsense. You know what I mean? Well, money, you know what I'm saying? All right, all right. What I'm gonna do, right, is this character has. It's so weird, man. This Cryotek. He has like wings, man. Ugh. I tell you, man, these design I applaud these designers, but I have a love-hate relationship. Because boy, the details they put in these things, man, it's crazy. It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare for us artists out here. You know? Because I'm such a stickler. Like, I want to make sure that everything is kind of, you know, on point. You know? But then it's like, oh my God, it's like notches here and things here and yeah. How I long for the days of Mazinga Z. You know, just simple design. Then you can do really cool things with them. I love. For me, that's the thing. It's like, again, you take somebody like John Byrne. Who, if you look at a lot of his work, a lot of stuff they did, it was a simplistic sense of how he approached it. But man, so dynamic. It's just incredible. I love that stuff, man. It was exciting, his work. Yeah, I just listened to a YouTube the other day. What was it? Is it Comics by Perch? Yeah, Comics by Perch, and he brought up a good point. Like, he asked the question, why don't we see a lot of the old schoolers, man, who are around? Like, you know, why wouldn't Marvel like reach out to John Byrne and try to bring these guys back? Because, you know, they worked on a lot of. I know there's a new Chris Claremont thing coming out, right? New run, from what I've heard. But why don't they dust off some of these guys? These guys are still around, man. Throw some work their way. It's really interesting. Some of his theories and stuff. Yeah. I mean, there was a point where I gotten out of comic books back in the 90s. That's when I really was getting into a lot of advertising work and stuff like that. And comics just got pushed back. They got relegated. And truthfully, the stuff that was coming out, I just wasn't feeling it. You know, like it's funny because I remember I got into a lot, and I love Todd McFarlane. Yeah, let me just say that straight up. I remember getting all the Todd McFarlane stuff. I got caught up in how it was, but then years later, say like the mid 2000s and stuff, I took a second look at it and I was like, oof. And I remember giving up. I gave up a lot of my Todd McFarlane books and stuff. Yeah, I'd say from that time period, I think the people that I really, really admired still, like probably today, would be Dale Keown. Walsh Patashio, I was a big fan of Walsh's work. Sam Keith. Tom McFarlane, of course. But I think, I'll be honest with you, not Tom McFarlane, but then who's the guy that took over for him and did a ton of stuff for him? I liked his work. I can't think of the guy's name on top of my head. I like Tom McFarlane more in the sense of his mind, like how he handled business. Like, Tom McFarlane to me is he's just, yeah, he's a hero. Like, when he first put out Todd Toys, I was like, man, that was such an eye-opener to me. It was like, he was the guy talking about like business, how you can take it to the next level, and that was so impressive to me. I was like, wow. All right, look at this, man. I think we're getting somewhere here, folks. All right, let's see how much more little detail I can get in this sucker. I just wanted to say, this is what happens, man. When I get commissioned, I always get people who ask me, they'll be like, oh, you commission stuff like that. I surprisingly don't get a lot of like these personal commissions and stuff. I find it mind-boggling because I posted a lot of stuff many times, and you know, but I really don't. Once I get these few rare ones, that people get lucky enough to commission me, you know, this is the level of stuff that I do. And to me, I look at this as just like, this is just part of what happens. You know, if you willing to dig in your pocket and you pay, then I'm gonna be willing to give you something, you know, that's gonna be, you know, hopefully top quality work. My mindset's like that, you know. I want to give you top quality. I don't want to give you, not coming at it with like, you know, here you go, 50%. I'm coming at it like, you know, I'm gonna make sure that, you know, hopefully you like it enough so that we have a repeat some repeat work, possibly. You know, I think any artist out there or creative should think like that. You know, you want repeat work. You're looking to get into the business of building relationships, you know, with potential clients, you know, just like any other person out there in the industry, you know. Who doesn't want clients? You know, you don't want clients. You don't want to be, you know, drawing and working. You need to be drawing and work. Any new artists out there, I say you need to be doing work somehow, some way, drawing. I don't care what aspect of the art industry it is, but you need to be constantly finding a way to be able to make a living doing something. Now, what that is, I don't know. I mean, you could be a graphic designer. If you are more prone to working digitally, then graphic design might be the place for you. You know, you could definitely find work in advertising. You can find work in for publishers and stuff like that. If you're old school like myself, then straight out illustrated, just doing hand drawings and stuff like that, it's going to be tough. But it's not something that's impossible. There's a lot of different companies out there and stuff like that. I would suggest that you use the internet for what it's supposed to be used, in the sense of as a tool, instead of using it as just something where you just want to just constantly, you know, just chat with people. You know, look at it strategically and say, look, you know, if I'm putting work out here, then you're engaging different people, and out of those different people, how many of those people might be somebody connected to a business? You don't know. You know, how many times there could be a person that could be connected to a major studio or whatever, and they just happen to be looking online and they see a posting, you're posting with your beautiful finished artwork, and they go, huh, you know, because that's all it really takes in this industry. It takes a huh. You know, you have a huh moment, next thing you know, bingo bango. You know, I forgot that story. There was a story once years ago about this kid who supposedly Steven Spielberg hired. It was at a coffee shop. I used to be at coffee shops a lot. And this kid, he was just doodling in his pad, man. He was at a coffee shop, and Steven Spielberg came in. I think this is the right story. But yeah, he came in and saw this kid's work and stuff and said, boom, I'm gonna hire this kid. Just like that. Isn't that crazy? I know I heard that story somewhere. But yeah. So I believe things like that can happen, but again, you have to take the first step. Remember that. You gotta take the first step. You know, whatever those fears that you may have about approaching people and talking to people and stuff like that. Yeah, we've all been there. I've been there, you know, early on in my career. But you know, I never forget when my mentors told me, just straight up, do you like to eat? You know, do you like to be warm? Do you like to have shelter? You know, it has to come down to that. Like, it becomes like, yeah, I want this. I want this more than the next person. It's almost like the Olympics. You want that medal, whatever that medal is. The medal, which one you want, who knows? It was determined. But you want it so bad that you go, okay, this is what I got to do. And it'll happen, you know. One of the toughest things one of my mentors once tell me years ago was patience. Yep, Kevin, most definitely. Most definitely on LinkedIn. And yes, it's a great place. Actually, it's funny. Because I've been posting a lot of my stuff and whatever, I've been getting connected left and right with so many various people and stuff. So who knows where stuff like that turns out. You know, I tell you, many of the jobs, I had a guy contact me. He was asking me about like ways and whatever. He's like, well, you know, how you meet clients today? And I said, well, I'll be honest with you. I've been posting stuff, and most of the work I've been getting is just been from people who just see my stuff, my postings, and just reaching out to me, private DMs. I haven't really shown my portfolio to anyone. Like in the old days, I used to have to go to agencies and show my portfolio and stuff. But nah, man, I haven't shown my portfolio in years. I guess it's just people who happen to, or either someone has heard about me. You know, I told a guy the other day, I said, look, here's the hard truth about it. I said, the reality is that, and I understood this reality when I was young too, is that most new artists are going to be going up against artists that are already seasoned pros, that have already been in the industry. You already have to get that through your head, that you're going up against seasoned people that have been in the industry 10, 15 years, and then you got old timers like myself, 30 years and up. But they've been in the industry. So they've already built up relationships with many of these companies and stuff like that. So yeah, that's what you're going up against. But with that said, don't give up. The thing is that you still have to put your stuff out there. You have to have a personality that people are going to be, that might be, what's the word I'm looking for? You want to have a personality where, again, like for me, I'll use an example because I can't think of the word. But I never forget when I first was starting out, I had a lot of rejections. I mean, I got doors slammed in my face, closed right into my face, and I still had a big old hamburger smile on my face. I remember I sent some stuff to an agency and didn't hear nothing. And so what I would do is I would do a follow-up, nice follow-up. I used to do a lot of letters, follow-up letters. Hey, how you doing? Sorry to bother you. This is Frankie. At the time, I really didn't use my middle initial. I just like Frankie Washington, and I submitted some samples and stuff, and I just checking in to see how things are going. And the woman was like, "No, I'm sorry, there's nothing." So I said, "Okay." So I said, "All right, well, thank you very much. I appreciate that you took the time to talk to me, and and hopefully something will come up." And that was it. Next thing I know, bring. It was like maybe a day later, boom, we got a gig. See what I mean? Sometimes it may not happen right there when you think it's going to happen, but when it does, you got to be ready for it. And the thing is that you want to always approach it from a standpoint of like, many times that companies or people that are looking to hire somebody or whatever, it doesn't have to, it's not a personal kind of thing. It could just be like, hey, look, especially I know in advertising, sometimes they may need somebody for a gig, and then all of a sudden the gig gets canceled. That happens. That could be the same thing also for book publishing and other stuff. But but the thing is that you don't go to doom and gloom just yet. Just be like, well, okay, thank you. Always have a personality and a not personality, but always have an approach where it's just like that this isn't a personal thing. It's just something that it's just part of it, and be gracious. And then see what happens. And I'm telling you, people see that. I remember going to cons. Another little story I'll tell you. I was at a con. I think it was Terrific Con years ago when I first started. I'll never forget this woman. There was a woman that came up to me and Jess's table. And I said, hey, how you doing and whatever. And even before I even started really just saying hello to her and stuff, she gave me this kind of, yeah, she gave me the cue. Like she literally told me, like she said, oh, well, you want me to buy your stuff and whatever. Yeah, she started just giving me this whole spiel. It's like she was just like, yeah, you're here and you want me to buy your stuff and whatever and stuff. And then I said, okay, and I let her say a word, and I looked at her and smiled, and I said, well, hey, look, I said, well, clearly, yeah, that's part of it. But I'll be honest with you, I just wanted to say hello. I said, how you doing? I just saw you looking over and stuff like that. I just wanted to say how you doing, and I hope you're having a great experience at the con and stuff like that. And it was weird. Like she stopped, and her face went blank a little bit. And then she just kind of looked at me and she said, well, I'm just, such and such. And she smiled and she walked away. And I said, okay, well, I said, take care. As she was walking away, I said, well, take care. And thank you very much for coming by. Right. I kid you not. Like you had a full busy day at the con, and I'm drawing like a madman, whatever. Guess who comes back? That woman. That same woman came back and she said, well, how you doing? How you doing? I had to walk around and stuff like that. And I just, I like some of the stuff here, and I like to get something from you. And I said, wow. I said, well, thank you very much and stuff. And we just laughed. I just laughed about it and stuff like that. But it just showed me that sometimes, it doesn't have to be this big thing where it's like you think that somebody is ready to start a fight with you. I had to learn that a long time ago when I grew up in the hood, man. It's not always about trying to get into the fights and stuff. So just sometimes just taking a breath back and just saying, look, hey, look, whatever the case, I just want you to know that I'm a reasonable person, and that if we can talk about stuff and whatever. Sure, yes. Most times people who are at cons, I want to let people out there, fans, understand, when you see an artist at a con or a writer at a con, they're there because it's a work day. Let's cut through that. Yes, they're there for fans too, to help the fans, whatever, but it's a work day for those creatives. And the thing is that, yes, they're trying to either sell their goods or whatever, or hopefully get, hopefully be able to talk, you know, and then talk to various people or companies and whatever. But with that said, you know, we should always be able to feel open to talking to people and stuff like that, and you know, and just saying, hey, you know, we're here, we're having fun. I hear you, and I hope you're having a great time. I think that's what comes down to it. I don't even know where I'm going, man. I'm starting to rant now. This is the point where I'm starting to rant, folks. But anyway, I think that, oh, actually, I'm not really done yet. Yeah, I was about to always just give up. I'm like, well, show's over, but not yet. I have to write in. I'm gonna tell you right now, the school that I went to, Butera School of Art, was one of the few schools that still did sign painting. He had a sign painting program. I didn't do sign painting, but I knew a lot of sign painters, and I really admired the art and skill of doing typography. It is a amazing art. I would consider letterers, embellishers, people that work in comics and stuff, who did hand lettering and stuff on comic books. It is an art form, an amazing art form. These are the people that do like signs that you see. If you go to a deli or something like that, somebody did a handwritten sign. It is an incredible art form. I never consider myself strong in that kind of way. I just, you know, I can do a little bit of my own lettering and stuff like that, but that's something where I think there's people much more better than I am. So I just want to put that out there, just to show my appreciation and love for people that can really do the art form of typography. It truly is an art form. All right, this is tight. Oh my God! I remember when I was working in advertising. Before computers, we had to try to do our own type writing, because you know they would want us to make it look, you know, because it's, again, when you're pitching to companies, it's a concept piece of artwork. So when you're doing a concept art, you want like notes and whatever on it. So you want everything to look like concept. You don't want everything to look finished, because the client, the major client, the one who's paying the bills, may look at it and think that what you're putting out there might be the actual thing, when it's not. It's just a concept. So anyway, so we had to do type and stuff, like write on it, and I would sweat bullets. I hated it. I was so happy when computers came and they had an actual marker felt type that we could just type right on, and we sort of, you know, the art directors let us, creative directors and art directors will let us do it. It was like, oh man, thank you. All right. You know what I'll do? You know what? See, now I'm kicking myself. I should have did his in red. That's gonna look weird. All right, forget it. I'm just thinking crazy. All right, here we go. Cryotek. Now, what I'm gonna do here is, once I've, you know, I like to let my artwork rest a little bit. You know, give it a little while so that it, you know, the ink can really get in there and stuff before I start trying to clean the lines up. Do a little tap, tap, tap over here. Tap, 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 tap. Looks pretty good, right? A little action. Okay, let's see. I don't know how many times I've changed my, how I do my signature. Oh man, I look at some of my early stuff and my signatures change. Oh, it's crazy. All right. I'm gonna do a lighter one over here, more red. And then that one's a little different right on the, and there you go. Whew. Wow. All right. Let's put that right there, folks. Take a little swig. Let me see. It's 9:49. Give me a second. Let me see if I can dig through some more of my stuff and give you guys a little show of my other work. Let's see. Let's see. Don't leave yet. Don't leave yet. Actually, you know what? I'll do something different. I'll show you guys some patches. Let's see. I'll show you guys. I'll give you guys a little treat. Voila, yeah, there you go. All right, so this is gonna go sit someplace, let it, you know, dry up for a little bit, so that when it times come for coloring, I can add the colors and stuff. But that should be pretty fun. And here, I'll just show you guys again. Let's see. I got 10 more minutes. I'm gonna wrap up around 10 o'clock. Let's see what I got. Let's see what other cards I got. I'm just gonna bring out a bunch of stuff. So you can get an idea of how color looks on it. Here's some other cards too. Yeah, here you go. So I'm gonna take this away, and here you go. I'm actually standing up now. There you go. Some sketch card right there. There you go. These are old. These are old ones. These are no. This was from. Here's I write the date. 2012. This is a 2012 card. So 2012. This is another cover recreation that I did. And it's after after Frank Miller. I don't think a lot of people know that Frank Miller did the first ROM Space Knight cover. So this was 2013. All right. This was a cover that I did for the Godzilla IDW. And this is after Alex Ross. And again, it's on my cardstock. And then another cover recreation that I did after Art Adams, 2013. That was a great series too, the Dark Horse. All right, this was a book. This is after, all I could find was after G manga. So it was a Godzilla book that I had, Japanese, and I don't speak Japanese, but I found a little name in it, G manga. So, but I love the cover, so I thought I would try my hand. It's Godzilla and the Smog Monster, Hedorah. Okay. This is a this was a 2013 Godzilla card that I did. Again, all these cards are on my own personal cardstock. And I put the name of Godzilla right there in the water. Okay. And then let's see, I think it's a puzzle one. Let's see, a couple of puzzles here, guys. Oh, here you go. For those Grandizer fans. This is Grandizer and let me get it right. King Gory. So it's a puzzle card. Yeah, this is fun. It was 2012, I believe. Yeah, 2012. So 2012. And then let's see. This is Grandizer versus Golgoth. Yeah, it's so tough sometimes because when I post these in the past, I don't think people really get a sense of the level of color on my own cards as well. They don't get a sense of the color and stuff. A lot of these are probably Copic marker mixed with Prismacolor pencils and stuff. Not Prismacolor, excuse me, Prismacolors. And then also I use gel pens as well too. So this is 2012. It's a puzzle in there. And let's see. Oh yeah, I'll move those out. Yeah, puzzle cards are fun, Kevin. I tell you, I love them. I love them, love them. All right, here you go. It's another Arthur Adams that I did back in the day. Same thing. All right, now here you go. Here's some official stuff right here. Oh, actually, here, I'll go through these right here, too. This was Matango. Oh, my God. I'm losing my mind here, folks. There you go. The Mushroom People. I don't know if people remember Creature Double Feature. There you go. And then this was a puzzle card that I did. 2 Toho characters, Kumonga and Kamakuras. And these are from the Godzilla universe. Someone's about to get eaten. Okay, now we're gonna get to some official stuff. This was my Marvel. I worked on Marvel Beginnings for Upper Deck, I believe. And this is an official card from that set. And this is the character from Power Pack. What was his name? Kofi? Yeah, Kofi. I wrote his name there. There you go. And was this 2011 when I was working with Upper Deck. There you go. Official Upper Deck. Novel art sketch card. This was for Project Superpower. Let me see, actually. Let me see. Project Superpower, The Scarab, by Dynamite Comics. So I still have this guy around. That was pretty fun. So yes, I do superheroes as well. Okay, I can't show these. Oh, I almost came close to showing you some cards I'm not supposed to. The Ultraman series. I can't do that yet. But yeah, this was a card that I did years ago for Fifinity. And that's their set. That was actually the company I started out with. Stephen Frank and stuff brought me aboard. Again, I did some postings online, and he just sent a DM to me and said, hey, I think you'd be really great doing sketch cards. And I had no idea what sketch cards were. And I said, okay, cool. And once I got them, my mind was like, oh, these are just storyboards. All right. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. And then let's see, how many more minutes we got? Got 3 more minutes, so I'll give you a quick little tour. For a short amount of time back in 2017, 2018, I was doing sketch cards. I mean, sorry, not sketch cards, duh. I was doing patches. And so these are some of the patches that I did. Now, I didn't make these patches. I actually, let me see if I can bring this up a little bit. See if you can see that, guys. But I just drew the artwork, and then I sent the artwork off to the clients, who in turn made the patches. So this is the first set that I worked on. It was an Dorothy, Wizard of Oz, kind of weird one. I did not work on this Voltron. I actually purchased this from eBay. So I did not work on this one, but I did all these right here. I did the artwork. Got some other ones. And then this was a supposed set that I was working with a patch maker, but didn't go anywhere. So there you go. There's some cards right there, stuff that I worked on. These are all custom patches. I actually did this one as well. I love this. That's actually amazing. I did all these. I did the artwork. I love that. That was fun. These were really cool, these American patches. Same thing. Death Squad was really cool. You guys can see this. I'm like grabbing the arm here. Yeah, these were pretty cool. They were like Walking Dead kind of patches. There was a group that wanted me to do, again, it brings back the old trucks. I had to do an advertising. Then Ninja Turtles, I did some. Same thing here, shown. This was the early one that I worked on, patches. So again, this is just to show you that, there you go. I did all these. That one, that. Guns, even as simple as a holster. Keyboard. Yeah. But just shows you that, the art industry is a vast industry and stuff. So, yeah. So, hey, man, I just wanted to say thanks again for hanging with me and listening to my madness. I'm gonna work on some more artwork. I just got a notice from another one of my clients, so I got more work to do. So anyway, till the next time, stay creative and keep that art flowing. Peace.